Hey there everybody, Meteorologist Jim Dickey here with another edition of Tracking the Tropics. Lots to talk about, so let's get right to it. Of course, this whole week we've been watching broad low pressure taking shape down in the Western Caribbean. This is the latest outlook from the National Hurricane Center. They just put this out right before 8 a.m. this morning, and by their own words, development is likely as we work into the weekend, as that broad low lifts its way up into the Gulf of Mexico. 40% chance over the next 2 days, 80% chance over the next 5 days, 80% chance over the weekend. If this comes together, it will be Saturday or Sunday as it moves through the central or eastern Gulf. The red area, that's sort of your window of movement, anywhere from close to the coast of Florida to the coast of Louisiana. But as I'm going to show you for our purposes here in Florida, the exact path this thing takes, not going to matter all that much. The impacts for us continue to be heavy rainfall. So here's what we're seeing right now. It's just broad low pressure still. Like I said, you can sort of make out a broad swirling going on, that counterclockwise swirl, and of course very heavy thunderstorm activity off to the east of the center. Still some strong wind shear. You can see it when you look out in the Bay of Campeche. You see those clouds moving from west to east. There's strong westerlies aloft, and that is keeping this shear. Tropical systems want calm winds because they want to get stacked vertically. When you have wind shear, or the wind's changing with height, they become tilted, and then they can't become the healthy tropical systems they want to become, a strengthening tropical storm or hurricane. So there's always going to be dealing with shear as we go forward in time, so don't expect this to take off and really deepen going forward. In fact, broad low pressure, and also it's only relative low pressure. You're looking at the numbers here, so when you see those three numbers there, put a 10 in front of it, that's your surface pressure. We're talking 10, 11, 10, 12 millibars. That's not a very low pressure for sure, but you can also see on the wind observations that broad counterclockwise flow. There's definitely localized low pressure there, that as it lifts north in the Gulf of Mexico, it's going to hit a pocket of low wind shear. This is on Saturday. This is the GFS model. You see that white area I'm highlighting with the arrow, little pocket of low wind shear where a tropical core is likely to form. Now, there's still some wind shear out there, and it's also going to use a dip in the jet stream, an up-level trough to strengthen. That's why this could be named subtropical, not having purely tropical characteristics. But regardless, a depression, if not a named storm, a tropical storm, is likely to form here as we go through the weekend. Again, the impacts for Florida more or less locked in, no matter what path this takes. I'm showing you the European model right now, which is one of them that keeps this pretty far to the west, and has been very consistent with that going back through the past week. So there we are Friday evening. We're already seeing, what I'm showing you here is the moisture content in the atmosphere, the precipitable water values as they're called, and the deep red is tropical moisture, and by tomorrow night it's already into Florida. There we are Saturday into Sunday, that tropical moisture is still anchored in here, even as, again, you see the center of it well to the west of Florida, pushing towards the coast of Louisiana. There it goes, making its way toward the coast, and we still, even into Monday, have that tropical moisture in place. The moisture is the fuel. Actually, let me run that back. I want you to pay attention to the winds. So the moisture is the fuel, and the dynamic motion of the winds, that's going to be the trigger for the rain. Seeing here, this is by early Sunday morning. We have broad southeasterly winds coming in out of the Atlantic, then strong southerly winds with the developing tropical low. That's a lot of air piling up over Florida, coming together. That convergence, as it calls, with all that moisture in place, is going to be more than enough upward motion to get some soaking rain going. This is a separate model. This is one of our in-house forecast models, and this tends to do a pretty good job with tropical systems. So watch what this one does. It keeps it pretty close to Florida, and if it does come this close to the coast, then we could get into some of those more mesoscale type rain bands. That would be what would cause some flooding. If you get some banding or some training thunderstorms here, but still it shows a similar story. Saturday, rounds of soaking rain lasting into Sunday, then we start to dry things out. So here's what I'm thinking for rain totals. A broad 3 to 5 inches all across much of southwest Florida until you get inland towards Lake O, but even then, 1 to 3. So this is a wide-scale rain event, and what we're watching for is if we get, again, any banding, any training thunderstorms. That's when you could get locally higher rainfall totals, 6, 7, 8 inches in these setups. I've seen it happen, and it's definitely a possibility. So if we see that, that's how flooding occurs. Just 3 to 5 inches, I don't think we see much in the way of widespread flooding. It's a localized flooding concern that we have here. And even then, just a moderate concern. But definitely Saturday, think of those areas as you're driving out and about across southwest Florida that are prone to flooding, lower lying. We get these heavy rain events that they tend to flood. They could very well see some flooding. Those are the areas to avoid. Wind threat, not very high. Even if this becomes a named storm, I don't really see our winds gusting ever higher than 30, 40 miles per hour, something more than a heavy thunderstorm. And always something we have to watch out for in a close passing tropical system is the threat for severe weather, in particular tornadoes. The threat right now appears to be low, but it is something we'll be keeping an eye on over the weekend, especially Saturday as it makes its closest pass. So, some takeaways here. Development is looking likely in the Gulf of Mexico this weekend. That's in the NHC's own words. Going to bring some heavy rainfall to Florida. And yes, here in southwest Florida, 3 to 5 inches of storm total rain is what we're looking at, and we could be dealing with some localized flooding. We'll, of course, have plenty more on this at ABC7, both on air and online throughout the next couple days, so be sure you keep with us for updates. Until then, I'm meteorologist Jim Dickey. Have a great day.